Hi, I'm John Maxwell. When the top companies in the world are looking for trainers, speakers, and coaches, there's one name that stands above the rest, and that's Maxwell Leadership. Our certified team members have gotten proven results for companies all over the globe, and our reputation, I'm proud to say, is second to none. Some of our members have risen to the top of their profession, including the one you're going to meet today. I proudly introduce you to my friend Bob Fabian Zinka.
Welcome to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ, where we help you lead with purpose and succeed with impact. If you're ready to grow into the kind of leader others want to follow, this podcast is for you. If you're determined to elevate your success and leave a lasting legacy, this podcast is for you. As my mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell reminds us, everything rises and falls on leadership. Our goal is simple: to inspire you, challenge you, and equip you with insights that can transform the trajectory of your leadership journey. Welcome aboard to another episode of the Leadership and Success Podcast with Coach BZ.
Hello everyone, my name's Ruby Kryticous and I am from Zambia, and I am letting you know that I'll be on the Leadership and Success podcast with Coach BZ. Looking forward to joining you and of course listening to some of the business skills and leadership skills that I will be sharing, and of course looking forward to engaging with you on this podcast. So see you there.
You will hear their voices, you will hear their concerns, and you will hear their solutions. And these are simple things from every day. Remember, they're in the world that is not designed for them, but how can we make it more in sync with their ability? Because remember, they have to function, they have to go to school. If they have a disability and can't jump on a bus, what is an alternative? You see, some of the buildings are not designed for them to enter because of their disability. They cannot enter not because they do not want to, but there is high chance of an accident. There is a high chance of injury when they enter such buildings. So we need to now start in initiating the change, because remember, we're saying leaving nobody behind. We're talking of the sustainable development goals, but half of the population, which is 1 billion, is disabled. And what are we doing about that? You see, what platforms are we putting in place? I did mention that I do support a school of children with hearing impairment. These children have no access to modern technology to learn. For example, like I mentioned, they have to interpret English to sign language, you see. And remember, storybooks are not in sign language. So how are we going to read to these children to enjoy the Cinderella story, for example, to enjoy the Animal Farm, for example? You see, we are depriving them of that information, the eagerness to learn. ABC songs are recorded in English with people dancing. How can we now start using sign languages in those songs to entice children to now start to learn and
I
have
am.
their
That's really powerful. I am really, really impressed with all of the work that you do and the advocacy. And I think you're really making a difference, really serving humanity, not just Zambia, but really having an impact around the world. So you do lead the Green Agricultural Youth Organization, Gaio Zambia. You mentioned that. Work closely with ATO Philippines. You mentioned that one also, and Climate Educate. So let me ask you this. What key lessons have you learned about building sustainable youth-driven movement that actually deliver result?
You have to be there. You have to be on the ground. You have to be involved at every level, whether it is the planning, decision making. It is actually through my advocacy that I did pitch to the team to say, why don't we start an inclusion program, for example? We do tree planting activities as well. And of course, being part of the advocacy and policy debates and discussions is what has led me to be involved with these other organizations.
Wow.
And not only that, you did talk about my involvement in gender and inclusion.
Mm-hmm.
I was appointed as the global advisor for A Billion Strong. Why? Is because I'm advocating a lot around inclusion,
Yes.
whether it is at household level, community level, schools, platforms such as the African Climate Justice Magazine, for example, where I just finished a project of including authors who will be a representation of individuals that have disabilities. You will hear
Yes.
their voices, you will hear their concerns, and you will hear their
Mhm.
solutions. And these are simple things from every day. Remember, they're in the world that is not designed for them, but how
Mhm.
can we make it more in sync with their ability? Because remember, they have to function, they have to go to school. If they are have a disability and can't jump on a bus, what is an alternative? You
Mhm.
see.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. This is Coach Busy. This was just a highlight of the interview I had with Ambassador Ruby Kryticous. And I am inviting everybody to watch the full episode. That's season 4, episode 94. Uh, so I'm going to play you another highlight toward the end of the show today. But first, let's go ahead and do our moment of gratitude. This is the part of the show where we take less than a minute to just think about one thing we are grateful for today. And part of the reason why we do this is because in the military, it's about 22 service member who commit suicide every single day. And I believe it's not possible to be suicidal and be grateful at the very same time. So if you would, close your eyes, think about your happy place. For me, like on two of my guests, it's the beach. And take a deep breath and think about something you are grateful for right now. I think today I am really grateful for the power of technology. It's really amazing. I'm here in Silicon Valley, San Francisco Bay Area, California, and for my little, studio, I can reach people not only across America but around the world. People from many different countries and people who don't even speak English. And again, with the power of technology, I am now able to automatically dub all of my shows in up to 24 languages, whether it's French, my native language, or Spanish, which I'm learning, or Portuguese. I've had two guests now that are from Brazil, and they speak Portuguese there. And soon I'm going to have another guest from Switzerland. I've never talked to someone from Switzerland before. They speak French there as well. I've had someone from Canada. They speak French. I've had someone from Cameroon in Central Africa, where I'm originally from. They speak French there as well. So, and I also had someone from Paris. Actually, she was from originally from Brazil, but she lived in Paris. And I had another American expat who lives in Paris, and they speak French there. So it's just amazing how technology is making it so that there is no longer a distance between us and we can communicate freely. I don't have to spend thousands of dollars for an interpreter or a translator. Artificial intelligence and technology can just do it for me right away. So anyway, that's what I am grateful for. So type in the comment what you are grateful for today. So what I will do is I'm going to play oh, hold on. Let me make sure I set it up. I thought it was already set up. It should be. I am going to play two videos today. One's going to be a 5 minute
Okay, let's just start with that
overview,
quote. Service.
and after that one, we are going to play a 10 minute of overview again done by artificial intelligence. And I'm using two of my AI agent. I call them Joe AI and Liz AI. So we're gonna do this, and then after that, I'm gonna play one more, uh, two more highlights from the hour-long conversation I had with Ambassador Ruby, and then that's going to be it. So if you have a question for me, please type it in the comment. And I always love to know where you are joining us from, what city, what state, and which country, if outside of the US. And also let me know what you are grateful for. All right, let's go to the first 5 minute recap of the interview.
Okay, let's just start with that quote. Service is the rent we pay for our time on Earth, and I intend to pay it in full. I mean, what a powerful way to think about it, right? What if leadership wasn't about the power you hold, but about the service you give? That one idea, right there, completely flips the script on what it means to lead.
So, you might be looking at this and thinking, okay, what can a humanitarian from Zambia really teach me, a US Navy officer or a Silicon Valley engineer? It's a fair question. But it turns out, the core principles of truly great leadership, they're universal. So let's dive in and see how her journey gives us a powerful playbook that works for any leader in any field. All right, so today, we're going to unpack the story of Ambassador Ruby, who's known as the Jewel of Africa. But look, this isn't just a biography. Think of this as a masterclass in a totally different kind of leadership, one that's built on empathy, on inclusion, and just a deep, profound sense of our shared humanity. You know, every great leader has an origin story. And hers, well, it doesn't start in a boardroom or on some battlefield. It starts with a simple, incredibly powerful act of empathy. See, her journey wasn't kicked off by some 5-year plan or a strategy document. No, it was fueled by pure, unfiltered empathy, a genuine connection to the people she saw around her every single day. And this quote, this one memory says it all. Even as a child, I would cry when I saw another child with no shoes. I would literally throw mine out the window so they could have a pair. Wow, that's not just a nice story, that's basically her entire leadership philosophy in a nutshell. It's her operating system. This wasn't just about charity, it was this deep-seated instinct to see a problem and immediately try to solve it. So how does that kind of childhood impulse scale up? I mean, what does that look like in the real world? Well, it starts right here. That simple act of giving away one pair of shoes, that has now grown to her providing direct support for 50 orphans today. And the impact just keeps multiplying from there. Her work now includes a daily feeding program for 300 children with special needs. It's just such a powerful reminder, isn't it, that these small, consistent acts of service, they can compound into massive, tangible change. Okay, so how does someone so focused on her local community become a global voice on something as huge as climate change? It's a pretty big leap, right? Well, like so many great missions, it didn't start with some grand plan. Nope, it started with a personal frustration, a problem. So, the story goes, she was just getting fed up with being soaked during Zambia's really extreme rainy seasons. And one day, she just said to herself, enough complaining, let me actually learn what climate means. And that right there, that's such a huge lesson for any of us. Instead of just complaining, she turned that frustration into curiosity, and then she turned that curiosity into action. Leadership really begins the moment we decide to understand a problem instead of just moaning about it.
And this is key. She doesn't talk about climate change in these abstract terms, carbon emissions and degrees Celsius. For her, it's simple. It's about protecting people. It's about community. It's about life itself. And if you think about it, that's a language any leader understands. If you're a naval officer, your mission is protecting a nation. If you're a cybersecurity engineer, you're protecting critical data. The core principle is exactly the same. Effective leadership is always a mission of protection.
And that brings us to what I think is one of her most powerful ideas. For Ambassador Ruby, real, game-changing innovation isn't about the newest gadget or the fanciest tech. It's about radical inclusion. She gives us this blueprint for what meaningful progress really looks like, the kind that actually leaves no one behind. And her philosophy is captured perfectly in this one line. They don't need pity, they need access and opportunity. It's so simple but so profound. Pity, well, that disempowers people. But access empowers them. So her work isn't about charity in the traditional sense. It's about systematically tearing down barriers for marginalized communities, and especially for those with disabilities. So what does access actually look like in practice? Well, here's a beautiful example. Cinderella stories told in sign language. ABC songs with little signing hands. It's about making sure a child who is hearing impaired can experience the magic of a fairy tale. Now let's bring that into your world. When you ship a new software feature, did you test it with a screen reader? In your last big meeting, did you make a point to ask the most junior person in the room for their opinion? That's inclusion, and that's where real innovation begins.
Now, the foundation for all of this, the philosophy that underpins everything she does, is a concept called Ubuntu. It translates to I am because we are. It's this beautiful idea that we are all fundamentally connected, that our humanity is shared, and it's a really powerful counterpoint to the sort of hyper-individualistic mindset we often see in Western leadership, right? It's not about me, it's about us. Our success is shared.
And her take on gender equality is also really interesting and nuanced. She doesn't frame it as just feminism. She argues that if you focus only on uplifting women, you risk creating a whole new imbalance. Her approach is about partnership. It's about men and women working together. And honestly, that's a concept that should feel pretty familiar, whether you call it one team, one fight in the military, or just good old cross-functional collaboration in the office.
Okay, so let's distill all of this down. What's the actionable framework here? What can we actually take away and apply in our own lives? Well, she offers 3 timeless lessons in leadership, and these work whether you're in a command center or a corner office. Let's walk through them. Number 1, don't be too hard on people. Basically, have some compassion. Your team needs patience to catch up to your vision. Number 2, hard work is the only recipe. In other words, let your work speak for itself. Your real credentials are your actions. And number 3, serve humanity, not your ego. Always remember, the mission is bigger than you are.
And that second point about hard work, it's not really about perfection. It's about resilience. I love this quote from her. I've failed 100 times more than I've succeeded, but every failure built the inner queen in me that said, you're not going to give up. That idea of failure building your inner queen, your core resolve, that's so critical for any leader. You're going to face constant setbacks, whether it's a failed military deployment or a flawed product launch. Failure isn't the end of the road. It's the forge where you're made stronger.
So all of this, all these lessons, they lead to a profound challenge to how we normally think about leadership. You know, that old idea that tells us we have to wait our turn, climb the ladder, and then we can lead?
And this might be her most urgent message of all. She says she started to detest that phrase, leaders of tomorrow. Why? Because we need to empower children, and everyone really, to lead today. Leadership isn't some title you wait around for. It's an action you take right now. It's about empowering the people around you today, not just preparing them for some imaginary future. And that brings us to this final thought from her. If I had one day left to live, I would make sure the world I leave is better than I found it. Now, that's not really a statement about the end of life, is it? It's a filter for how to live every single day. It completely shifts your focus from what you can accumulate for yourself to what you can contribute to others.
So, let's end with a direct challenge for you. Forget the grand 5-year strategies for a second. Let's make it small. What is one tangible action you can take this week to use your influence and empower someone who feels unseen? Who is that person on your team, in your squad, or just in your life that needs access, not pity? Because your answer to that question, well, that's where your real leadership legacy begins.
They've seen my strength. They've seen what I'm capable of. And it is through their connections that I'm able to speak at international platforms and gain
Wow.
recognition and support.
That is really powerful. So that's a great segue to get into the second portion of the podcast where I focus mostly on leadership. We have about 20 minutes left, which is more than enough time. So let me ask you, uh, what is the greatest lesson you have learned so far?
Don't be too hard on people.
That's
Don't
good.
be too hard on people because uh, as a leader, remember you are coming with your own vision, you are coming with your own ideology, and
Mhm.
you are coming with your own mechanisms. Not everybody will be adaptable and like new ideas. We are all susceptible to new things, you see, but it is how we start to engage, like I did mention earlier, to
Mhm.
say it is about me showing you the vision I have, and
Yes.
if you work with me, I think we can go faster together
Yes.
than me working alone.
Perfect.
So for me, it's about being patient,
Wow.
being compassionate, is what those are one of the greatest leadership skills we need to start enhancing further on.
Absolutely. And what
Welcome, everyone. Today we're diving deep into a story of bold service, resilient leadership, and global unity inspired by Ambassador Ruby N. Criticus, known as the Jewel of Africa.
Absolutely. What a journey. Her story speaks about building bridges, empowering communities, and challenging the norms that divide us, right?
Right, it's like, from her early days in Zambia, where even as a child, she'd give up her own shoes for another. You know, that little spark of empathy that fuels a lifetime commitment to service.
Yeah. It's amazing how that childhood impulse blossomed into over 20 years of impactful work, from supporting hundreds of children and orphans to taking part in global platforms like COP27 and COP28.
Exactly. Her journey is a powerful reminder that leadership isn't about privilege, it's about purpose. You see, her transformation from a local humanitarian to a global climate advocate and champion for gender equality is remarkable.
And what's striking is how she brings inclusiveness to the forefront, ensuring even persons with disabilities or marginalized voices aren't sidelined. I mean, those examples like textbooks lacking sign language, person 2 yo.
Right, those points underscore her belief that true inclusion isn't a policy toggle, it's an essential principle. It's like saying, we can't design effective systems unless every voice is heard.
Speaking of design, her approach to leadership reminds me of someone setting up a well-crafted stage where, instead of waiting for change, you actively empower people to lead today. That's a refreshing take on traditional leadership narratives.
Absolutely. It's about moving away from leaders of tomorrow and kindling that spark now. She challenges the idea that change is something deferred, underscoring that children and youth should be the leaders of today.
Right, and that resonates with organizations, whether it's in the military or tech sectors. It's like if you're designing innovative cybersecurity systems or leading a platoon, your policies must include empathy. Person 2.
True, and then there's her perspective on gender equality, a call for partnership over division. You know, it's as if she's saying empower women, but also remind men that allyship is real action, not mere applause.
That's an interesting balance. But I wonder, don't you think that such a balanced approach might risk diluting the focus needed on specific historical inequities? Person 2.
I see what you're saying, but she actually addresses that nuance. Her point is that equality as partnership avoids another imbalance, ensuring that progress for one doesn't inadvertently marginalize another. It's a call for unified advancement, not zero sum competition.
That makes sense. And it really mirrors the one team, one fight mentality we see in high stakes environments like naval operations or tech innovation. Every role, every voice adds value.
Definitely. And let's not forget her climate journey, almost accidental, you know. She moved from complaining about the rainy Zambian season to actively understanding and championing climate action. It's like transforming frustration into conviction.
Right. She transformed a mundane problem into a global mission, linking extreme weather events to real human suffering. That reframing reminds us that climate is not just an environmental issue, but a deeply humanitarian one.
Exactly. And her role as a UNFCCC Bangladesh climate champion and FXB climate advocate really drives home that point. Every drought, every flood affects a person's life, and every life matters when we speak of climate justice.
Yeah, it's a clear call to action for every leader, whether in the military or tech, to recognize that protecting our environment is about protecting our communities.
Right, and now let's talk about her lesson on hard work. She stresses that success is built on persistence. Hard work is the only recipe for success, she says. It's about letting your work speak for itself.
I love that idea. Hard work building character over perfection. It's reminiscent of the notion that every failure hones your strength, a lesson that's pretty universal.
Absolutely. In her own words, every failure contributed to the formation of that inner queen, a message that resonates deeply with all who aspire to lead with resilience. And it's a principle that crosses every field, from naval discipline to tech innovation.
No doubt. And then she also advises, don't be too hard on people. It teaches us that as leaders, we need to show patience and compassion rather than impose pressure. It's a subtle yet powerful shift from criticism to coaching.
Exactly. It's like understanding that progress blooms best when nurtured, not forced. It challenges the conventional idea that assertiveness alone wins the day. Compassion builds lasting influence.
That's right. And her emphasis on serving humanity over feeding the ego sends such a profound message. In every command, every board meeting, the goal should be to lift others up rather than to highlight one's own achievements.
Right, it's a reminder that true leadership is measured not by how high you rise, but by how many you help uplift along the way. It's about serving others as our fundamental purpose.
And speaking of serving, her personal reflections, like finding solace in gardening, photography, and orchestral music, like her favorite tune, Jesus Take the Wheel, add a rich layer of humanity to her professional journey.
Yeah, it's like these moments of introspection and art balance out the high energy demands of global leadership. They offer the kind of pause that refreshes the mind and soul.
Absolutely. Such balance is crucial. It's the very essence of being a whole leader. Strategy in leadership isn't just about decisions made under pressure, it's also about reflection and renewal.
Precisely. And if we look at her closing thoughts around the Ubuntu principle, I am because you are, it brings everything full circle. It calls for a collective, inclusive spirit where our interdependence acts as the backbone of progress.
That vision is truly infectious. It inspires everyone, from a commander in a military unit to a tech engineer in Silicon Valley, to consider how their actions ripple out to impact society at large.
Right. And let's consider her diplomatic stance. She reminds us that diplomacy is about mutual respect, saying, you may not agree with me, but you must hear me. That's a lesson in humility and active listening, which is essential across all leadership fields.
Yeah, that idea is golden. In a world rife with rapid decisions and digital interactions, taking a moment to listen can redefine the entire dynamics of a team or a global conversation.
For sure. And her impact in international summits, from Dubai to Washington, demonstrates that leadership built on empathy can truly cross borders. It's that kind of global mindset that allows for collaboration rather than conflict.
Exactly. It goes to show that when we act now, rather than wait for a perfect moment, real change happens. Empowering leaders today makes for a better tomorrow, even if tomorrow is built on the values of today.
Right, and her work with programs like the Young African Leadership Initiative is a testament to that mindset. It's about raising leaders of today rather than waiting for some future point in time. You have to ignite the spark immediately.
I totally agree, and that proactive approach is particularly relevant to, say, military officers who need to act decisively. It's a mindset shift from waiting to lead towards leading by example now.
Yeah, and speaking of leadership examples, her call to serve humanity, not ego, stands out. It really crystallizes the idea that our influence should be measured on the basis of compassion and service, not just on hierarchical power.
True, that's a powerful reminder for everyone. But, I wonder if in some high-pressure sectors that approach might conflict with necessary decisiveness. What do you think?
It's a valid concern, but she shows that compassion and decisiveness aren't mutually exclusive. In fact, serving humanity builds a foundation of trust, which in turn enhances decisiveness because people follow out of respect and belief rather than fear.
Right. That perspective really reframes how we view leadership in critical domains like cybersecurity or military command. Leading with heart doesn't mean lacking strength, it means fortifying it with integrity.
Absolutely. And as we wrap up this rich discussion, her final call echoes so clearly. If I had one day left to live, I'd ensure the world was better than I found it. That message of unity, compassion, and actionable leadership is something we can all take to heart.
I couldn't agree more. Her story inspires us to lead not just for change, but for a lasting impact on humanity. It's a reminder, our collective efforts, no matter how small, contribute to a grander purpose.
Exactly. Let's honor that legacy by asking ourselves, What one act of compassion can we take this week? How can we empower someone unseen and lead beyond generations?
Well said. Let her journey challenge us to be more inclusive, resilient, and compassionate in every sphere we touch, be it in the military, tech, or our communities.
So thank you for joining this conversation on a remarkable life of service. Remember, leadership built on empathy and hard earned grit can truly change the world, one act at a time.
Absolutely. Let's take that inspiration forward and make a difference today. Until next time.
All right, that was the podcast. I still have one highlight I would like to play. I'm gonna do this right after that. So if you would type in the comment what you've learned from this episode, what are your three takeaways, and also what is one thing that you are going to put into practice this week. To me, leadership is really practical. It's not just what you say or what you hear or what you understand, but it's actually what you do daily, consistently. That is really what makes you a leader. I think really from the conversation I've had with Ambassador Ruby, uh, the most important thing I really got from her, I mean, I like when she says, "I failed 100 times more than I've succeeded, but every failure built the inner king or queen in me," and that is so true. But I think the most important lesson is she says if she had one day to live, she would make sure that the world I live is better than I found it. That's really the way I've always tried to live my life. Try to live the world in a better place than I ever found it, better for my children and my future grandchildren, which I haven't seen yet, and I think it's important. I think one thing that really saddened me right now, I am leadership sad because there is so much division in our country, and I'm always reminded of the day after 9/11, 2001, how together we can, whether you're from a red state, a blue state, Democrat, Republican, black or white, it didn't matter. We were all American, and we are the United States of America. And I think united is the key word. And regardless of our political persuasion and our background education, whether you are an immigrant like me, first generation immigrant, or you've been living in this country forever like my wife, it doesn't matter. We are all US citizens, and we need to put country above party, right? And that's why when I had the interview with General Glenn Van Erck on Friday, and I asked him if you had a magic wand, if you could solve any problem at all, what would you solve? He said, is to heal the divide within our country. I think America is worth fighting for. That's why I joined the U.S. Navy, and I'm very, very proud of my service in the most powerful Navy in the world. But we need to come together as a country. And really, Ambassador Ruby, what she reminds us is compassion and inclusion. We have to be inclusive, right? You don't have to be like me to be an American. Everybody should be equal in this country. There should be that brotherhood and that equity. Whether you are male or woman, whether you are black or white, whether you are rich or poor, we should all be in this together. And I think that's a very, very important lesson that Ambassador Ruby from Zambia has really taught me during the hour-long interview. So take the time to listen to the entire interview. That's season 4, episode 94. And a reminder, I will be back here tomorrow morning, and I'm going to have another AI recap. This one, my conversation with Coach Kate Onakomaya, originally from Cameroon, so she's French speaking, but now she's a Nigerian citizen and a UK citizen as well. I talked to her from London, England, and we talked about the growing life, lesson in intentional leadership. Like me, she's a Maxwell leadership certified coach. So you don't want to miss it. That's going to be tomorrow morning. And then on Monday, I'm going to have 2 interviews. My brother in arm, Lieutenant Colonel Johnny Lynham, U.S. Air Force retired, is going to be with us on Monday morning. And we're going to be talking about command, capital, and character. And then right after him, I'm going to be talking to my mentor, Dr. Tim Elmore, on the same day, on Monday. We're going to be talking about leadership too, the Gen Z playbook. He's just published a book. I want everybody to get it. The Future Begins with Z. We really, really, truly need to learn about Gen Zs, how they think, how to motivate them, how to work with them. I know when I was a commanding officer for GNOSC Suffolk, I had to rely on both of my daughter Naomi and Zoe, to really teach me how to motivate people from their generation, because they are quite different than Gen X's. Okay. And then on Wednesday, I will have a privilege to talk with another brother in arms, Coach Alex, Lieutenant Colonel Alex Ramos, U.S. Air Force retired. He's a founder, speaker, and coach. We're going to be talking about leading without fear. I really, really look forward to that. And then on Thursday, I will be talking to another one of my friends from Silicon Valley, Coach Divya Smith. She's an investor, entrepreneur, and executive. We're going to be talking about building generational wealth. So I hope you can be with us live on the Leadership and Success podcast throughout this week. And until tomorrow, have a wonderful weekend. Bye for now.
And that is where my whole journey has started till today. And of course, affiliates of other organizations, and just a certified UNFCCC climate champion. So we
Yes.
have been doing quite a lot around not only awareness but also finding solutions, because we talk a lot about the problem but we do not give solutions. And that's a different narrative I wanted to become when I wanted to get into the climate space, to say, okay, I will bring about these problems, but I also want to bring about the solutions that we can bring to the table, the solutions that can even change someone's life. Because remember, climate change may not affect you because you're in a particular country, but now I don't think someone can say I have not been affected by climate change, because one or two people has been directly or indirectly affected by climate change. We saw the wildfires in Las Vegas and the flooding of the subway in New York as well. Those big events. We saw Hurricane Katrina pass through Louisiana, for example, bringing devastation to a city, and recovery up to now in Louisiana has not been rebuilt to the state where it was, because climate change impacts and disasters really take a huge amount of pledges when it comes from the budget surplus, for example, meaning government needs to spend more, yet they still have other sectors in which they need to raise funds to build upon. So climate change has a negative impact not only on the government but also on financial resources, because if you can't find those resources, you have to either apply to the climate fund. That's why we were saying Africa, for example, only contributes 1 to 3% of carbon.
Thank you for tuning in to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ. If today's episode added value to your leadership journey, be sure to subscribe, share, and join us again for more wisdom nuggets on how to lead better and achieve greater success. Remember, leadership is the most critical skill of our time. The world will always need leaders to inspire others, drive innovation, and execute meaningful strategy. So why not count yourself among the bold leaders shaping the 21st century? Until next time, stay inspired, stay committed, and keep leading with excellence.